Mike, you had to head out here soon. Did you want to discuss one of your favorites before you go?
Yeah.
The
You
boys
want to
from
do the
Illinois.
Chicago? Yeah, totally. I didn't pull out the disc, but yes. This is, I don't know if I've said it on the channel before, but this is a top 3 all-time album for me. It may be number 1, but yeah, this is the new multi-channel mix of the Steven Wilson mix of Chicago 2, which is, like I said, a favorite of mine. I don't have multi-channel audio, but I have the Wilson mix, and I think the Wilson mix Wilson did such an amazing job bringing out, everything in this album. Chicago is a band that's been close to my heart since I was a baby. Like, I grew up listening to Chicago and Steely Dan and jazz and all that stuff. So I've known this album my whole life, but the mixes on some of these are not amazing. You don't get like all of the nitty gritty super well. I don't think they were like either something with the mastering or the mixing that was kind of, I don't know, some of it's muted. Like, there's a lot of stuff on the Steven Wilson mix that really is highlighted.
Yeah.
That is not highlighted. I think I could be wrong, but I think there's like a lot of the stuff was recorded in like just a take or two. They just
I
blew
believe
through it.
So
Yeah.
they just recorded the horn section, just sat up and with a couple mics and went for it, or
Yeah, and that was it.
that's incredible.
It's
I
nuts.
didn't know
Yeah. I could make a strong argument that at this point, especially like around 1971, Chicago was, in my opinion, the best band around. No question. I mean, they had everything. They have like 3 or 4 amazing singers. You got the best horn section in the business, and you got, at this point, the best rhythm section. Is you got Terry Kath on guitar, you got Peter Cetera on the bass, Robert Lamb on keys, and then Danny Seraphine on drums. They just gel, those guys, and they played live constantly at this point. So they're constantly listening to each other and constantly getting better and better. And that's really evidenced on this album, Chicago 3, and then the Carnegie Hall especially. I mean, this band is just amazing. Like, the stuff that they were able to play is crazy. Chicago is a very popular band, and sometimes they get a lot of flack because they totally went towards the super hit factory machine later on in their career.
But that wasn't here. They weren't.
No,
there
that's
yet.
not here. They wrote hits. Like, this has Make Me Smile and 25 or 64, but those are genuinely excellent songs.
Those are
like,
great
they have
songs. Yeah.
also the songwriting chops. Like, who's writing songs like this? Like, you have, you could argue there's a prog aspect to this too, because you have songs like Poem from the People and In the Country, which are like mini epics, but they're like 3.5 to 5 minutes long, and you go through the gamut of emotions and musical things. It's so great.
See, what's interesting about this is that the original Steven Wilson mix of this came out like, how long has it been now?
It's like 2016 or something.
Yeah.
2017 maybe.
Yeah, like 8 or 9 years ago. And it was kind of an anomaly at the time because there was no 5.1 mix issued. It was just stereo, and
it was only a stereo mix. Yeah.
No explanation given. And I always kind of felt like that was a missing piece in the Wilson 5.1, surround mix and remix canon. It's like, where's the multi-channel mix of Chicago 2? Well, it finally came out this year, and this is from Rhino Records, and I believe this is part of their high fidelity pure audio, but it's also part of their Quadio imprint in a way, and I don't know if that's quite the right word, but because this does include a vintage Quadio mix with it. So you get the Quadio mix, you get the 2003-ish 5.1 mix, and you also get Wilson's Dolby Atmos mix. And talking about the way it was recorded, like, I can hear the drums traveling. Like, the drums are mostly like toms and stuff are in the height speakers, and they just seem to be like, and it's incredible. I'm just not used to hearing that amount of fidelity out of this album. And you do feel like the horns are positioned in the back. Now, sometimes you definitely get higher brass like trumpets in the fronts and height speakers, and the lower brass, like the trombones, are all the way in the back. This album especially was never high fidelity.
No, it wasn't. Like, my records, you can hear it's like fairly muffled. Like, the music is great, but it's still like, it's pretty muffled and like shows its age.
And I think that is still here. Like, I don't think Wilson changed the character of it much at all.
No.
But what he did do is add dynamics, or I guess reveal the dynamics. and a lot of individual instrument clarity. Like, especially like there's 3 suites on this, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But that AM morning and PM morning, that little suite with all the little orchestral stuff is evenly spread around the room, and it feels like you're sitting within this album. It's
Yeah,
totally
the remix
immersive.
is amazing.
I would put Wilson's mix of this in the same category as his mix of Aqualung, because both of these are so transformative that they individually justify the existence of all Wilson mixes, in my opinion. Because sometimes he doesn't add a whole lot. You know what I mean? Like he might add clarity, dynamics, whatever, punch to a mix. But, in some cases, like say Songs from the Wood, it already sounded pretty good. So it's like, I'm not sure if he's quote unquote necessary, but he revitalized this album much in the same way that he revitalized Aqualung. And it sounds like a new record to me. Like I can just turn this up. I had this thing like Peel and Paint yesterday, and I didn't hear any distortion or anything. It just all sounded like great music.